A dozen people hurt in two mass shootings just a mile apart. And today, video from our chopper shows garbage trucks clearing out the site of one of those mass shootings, an encampment in Minneapolis.
America, we need to talk about what just happened in Minneapolis because it perfectly illustrates the deadly consequences of virtue signaling disguised as compassion. 7 people were shot at a homeless encampment on East Lake Street, with 2 victims in critical condition after being shot. But here's what's infuriating. The property owner, Hamoudi Sabri, is already talking about reopening this disaster zone after people nearly died on his property. This guy owns prime real estate in Minneapolis, and instead of developing into something that generates tax revenue and jobs, he's turning it into a magnet of violence, drugs, and chaos. When virtue signaling meets reality, innocent people get killed.
Our top story tonight at 6, another mass shooting in Minneapolis. This time the gunfire came overnight at an encampment on Lake Street, which is on private property.
7 people were hurt in that shooting, several with life-threatening injuries.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This case shows exactly what happens when property owners prioritize feelings about themselves over actually helping their communities. Let me break down what happened at this encampment on East Lake Street. Around 10 p.m. Monday night, gunfire erupted at this homeless camp that was operated by the property owner. 7 people were shot, with 2 victims found in tents with life-threatening head wounds.
Police still looking for those responsible as the city stepped in immediately. They cleared out this site of the tents, of the makeshift structures, and now they are headed to court to make sure it stays cleared off.
Police Chief Brian O'Hare blamed the shooting on an apparent dispute over drugs, which tells you everything you need to know about what this encampment really was: a drug market disguised as humanitarian aid. But here's the kicker. This happened just hours after a shooting a mile away where 5 people were hurt near the Lake Street Metro Transit Station. Minneapolis had 2 mass shootings in 12 hours, both connected to the homeless crisis that city leaders refused to address properly.
The Minneapolis homeless encampment that became the scene of the latest mass shooting is cleared tonight and being held by police. This morning, city crews started dismantling the encampment that sits on private property.
The city immediately moved to shut down the encampment. Mayor Jacob Frey saying these encampments regularly end with tragedy, with shootings, with fires, and preventable deaths. That's why we need to close them. Now let's talk about the property owner who created this disaster. This guy owns prime commercial real estate on East Lake Street, one of Minneapolis's main corridors. And instead of developing into something productive, he's been allowing it to become a magnet for drugs, violence, and chaos.
Feel any responsibility for what happened in light of hosting the encampment here?
Absolutely not.
Sabri says he did it for humanitarian reasons and because he thinks the city isn't doing enough to help the homeless, and he has no plans to stop what he's doing.
But here's my question. If you really wanted to help, why not develop your property into something that creates jobs, generates tax revenue, or houses homeless people?
We're going right back right now. That's what I'm here for.
Did he put the neighborhood in danger?
Absolutely. I understand from the compassion standpoint that you want to help, but you're enabling people to continuously use their drugs and have a lifestyle that is not safe.
Even after 7 people got shot on his property, the homeowner is saying, we're going right back right now, and that's why I'm here. This isn't compassion. This is stubborn virtue signaling that's putting people's lives at risk. Let's hear from the people who actually live with the consequences for this property owner's humanitarian experiment.
There's too many kids in this neighborhood right next to a school. Very unsafe for any child.
Until the mass shooting, the city was unable to close down the encampment because it's on private land, hosted by owner Hamoudi Sabri.
This woman has full custody of 2 grandchildren because both of the parents are addicts, and she's trying to protect them from the exact kind of environment that this property owner is creating. She said, I understand from a compassion standpoint that you want to help, but you're enabling people to continuously use their drugs and have a lifestyle that is not safe. That's the real impact here. Families are trying to raise children safely while property owners create drug markets for their neighborhoods and call it compassion.
The shooting at this encampment happened just after 10 10 o'clock last night near 28th and East Lake Street in the Longfellow neighborhood. It's unclear at this point what led up to the gunfire, but police say they believe it was a shootout between at least 2 people.
The city has been trying to close down this encampment for months, but couldn't because it's a private property. They were in court proceedings to get it shut down when the shooting happened. Now it's finally closed, but only because people nearly died. Here's what really gets me about the situation. The property owner is a successful property developer with a long history of commercial real estate projects in Minneapolis. He knows how to build things, generate tax revenue, create jobs, and contribute to the community. So why is he choosing to turn prime real estate into a homeless camp instead of developing it properly? Is he too lazy to do the work of actual development? Does he think letting people set up tents is easier than building something productive?
Crews spent the day today clearing this camp. City officials say next steps include getting a court order.
East Lake Street is a major commercial corridor. That property could be developed into retail space, office buildings, mixed-use housing, or a number of things to generate tax revenue for the city and create legitimate employment opportunities. Instead, the property owner is choosing a path of least resistance. Just let people camp there and call it humanitarian aid. But that's not helping anybody. It's enabling drug addiction, creating public safety hazards, and destroying the neighborhood for everyone else. This Minneapolis encampment shooting is part of a broader pattern we're seeing across Democrat-run cities. Misguided compassion that actually makes problems worse while making people implementing it feel good about themselves.
When you set up a homeless encampment, it becomes an open market for drugs.
Fry says there's nothing humanitarian about an encampment, which is dangerous for the neighborhood and the people staying there.
The mayor got it exactly right. When you set up a homeless encampment, it becomes an open drug market. There's nothing humanitarian about creating conditions where people get shot in the head over drug disputes. The city offered services to people in this encampment every single day. After the shooting, there were 30 people remaining at the camp. Only one person accepted help from the city. That tells you this wasn't about people who had nowhere else to go. This was about people who wanted to live outside of the law. Real compassion would be developing this property into something that creates legitimate opportunities for people to improve their lives. Real compassion would be supporting the families in the neighborhood who are trying to raise children safely.
No decision yet on a restraining order against Hamoudi Sabri, who has been allowing a homeless encampment on his land.
America, the property owner's decision to reopen the encampment after 7 people got shot shows you everything wrong with virtue signaling disguised as compassion. This guy owns prime real estate in Minneapolis, but instead of developing it into something that would be productive to society, he wants to turn it back into an open drug market. This isn't about helping homeless people. It's about a property owner who's too lazy or too stubborn to do the hard work to actually develop it. Letting people set up tents on your land isn't compassion. It's negligence. The real victims here are the families trying to live safely in that neighborhood, the children who have to walk past drug deals on their way to school, and the people who got shot because somebody thought enabling chaos was the same as helping people. If the property owner wants to help the community, he should develop that property into something productive, build retail space, create jobs, build housing that people can afford, build something that contributes to the tax base instead of draining the city of resources. But that would require actual work and investment, not the warm, fuzzy feeling that comes from calling yourself compassionate while other people pay the price for your virtue signaling. 7 people got shot because the property owner chose to enable dysfunction instead of contributing to solutions. That's not compassion. That's selfishness disguised as charity. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.